What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. I want to say rest in peace to Reverend Jesse Jackson. For those who don't know, former DC senator, revolutionary, civil rights activist, Reverend Jesse Jackson passed away at age 84. And I want to reverence him. I find it strange how a lot of the times our real leaders they end up dying in Black History Month. That's something that really stands out to me first and foremost. But we're gonna get into that. Um, I want to say R.I.P. to him. For those who are unfamiliar with his work, Reverend Jesse Jackson did a lot to push the civil rights movement forward. I mean, the reason why we have a lot of our civil liberties today is because of the groundwork that Jesse Jackson put in. And he was mentored by Martin Luther King. In fact, he was right there when MLK got assassinated. I mean, Reverend Jesse Jackson witnessed it firsthand. I mean, as gruesome as it was. And he carried the baton well. He really did. He helped a lot of foundational Black Americans. You know, he was in the trenches trying to make sure that a lot of our funds was being divvied correctly. DC respects him. Reverend Jackson, he did a lot in Africa too to actually end the apartheid captivity or movement or whatever you want to call it, where our people, you know, or Africans and some of our people were being enslaved by the non-indigenous people. You know, Reverend Jackson stepped up and he ran for president back in 84. He also ran in 88. I think back in 84, he got into some trouble because he said some stuff about Jewish people in New York. And he ended up not winning. And back in 88, he came a lot closer to winning the presidency. However, he fell short. But he was a good sport about it because until when Obama got elected, Jesse Jackson would have been the only guy that we would have really elected. You know, he had the biggest push back in the 80s to actually having a chance at winning. So he was pretty much ahead of his time. You know, the man was known for his fiery speeches and he did his thing. And, you know, he passed away at 84. Last night, I actually seen it last night, early in the morning, in the wee hours. And I wanted to talk about that because, you know, it's important that we know our history, that everything that we have today, our ancestors fought for it. You know, people from our lineage who have an ethnogenesis to this land. You know, he's a Chicagoan, born and raised, have actually put in work for us to have the freedoms that we have today. And, you know, his push for equality is commendable. Although, you know, me personally, I don't believe that we will ever be equal in a land that we are meant to be held captive, in a land we're meant to serve. But nonetheless, that's not to, you know, kind of discredit his work. You know, even though Jesse Jackson probably should have been the first Black president, I believe he wasn't elected because he's a foundational Black American. I personally believe that. You know, Obama, on the other hand, you know, they try to tout him as some sort of FBA. They try to tout him as a Chicagoan as well because, you know, I guess he spent some time in Chicago. But we know that Obama is not from America. So um, I believe Jesse Jackson didn't get elected as president because they don't want anybody who really are from our stock. They don't want anybody who truly understands our plight in the White House. And that's just what it is because Obama, he really didn't do anything for us. If I'm just speaking honest with y'all, Obama really didn't do anything for us. Let's just call it what it is. He did more for the rainbow group of people. And, if you think about the things Obama did, he raised the bounty on Assata Shakur's head. He ordered the hit on Muammar Gaddafi. He gave us cash for clunkers. He gave us Obamacare with these high premiums. I mean, what did he do for us? You know what I'm saying? And I'm just keeping it a buck. We got to keep it 100 over here. And, I got to say RIP, rest in power to Reverend Jesse Jackson. Some of you all may not agree with some of his politics or viewpoints, but nonetheless, we got to respect our elders. We got to respect them. Anybody spam in the chat, let's just do them a solid. Anybody spam in the chat, let me just do you a favor real quick because we're not going to do that. Yeah, Reverend Jesse Jackson, he was a powerful voice. He was. And I like to give credit to where credit is due. And, he will not be forgotten for his contributions to our people. And we got to start really commemorating our elders before they leave. Like shout out to Louis Farrakhan. Not saying that his day going to be tomorrow or the day after. I'm just saying that all of our leaders, real leaders, not social media personalities, unless they have some actual legwork and they've done some things that benefit our people, but not actors and actresses and rappers that they try to choose to be our leadership. No, man, we got to commemorate actual leaders. And Reverend Jesse Jackson was one of them. And so is Louis Farrakhan. Whether you like them, love them, or hate them, whether you disagree with certain things, nonetheless, those would be considered real leaders in our community. A lot of these people don't represent us. Now, however, a lot of these actors and actresses don't represent us. Now, I find it strange, though. I know he was 84 years old. He lived a full life. But is it me or it seemed like all of our martyrs end up getting taken out on Black History Month? I don't know. I don't know. It's just something that really stands out to me. Could it be something going on more nefarious with that? Yeah, let me see. Christy says, I'm going to respect people's opinion. This is why I'm careful what platform I voice truth. Jesse Jackson has done more hurt than help to the community. I'm sorry you feel that way. Because I don't know Jesse Jackson. I mean, look, you have the right to have your opinion about Jesse Jackson. However, sometimes people say things, and you got to come with evidence and facts to substantiate that. That's why, you have your own platform, you have your own channel to be able to voice what you feel. However, I don't know Jesse Jackson to push anything politically that will disenfranchise our people, or anything that he has put in play to inordinately affect Black people in the prison industrial complex. We don't know Jesse Jackson to have any way, shape, or form aligned with white supremacy. You understand? And he passed away at 84 years old. And we got to respect his contribution. See, a lot of you all don't quite understand that um, a lot of things people did was coming from a good place, a good heart. I'm not saying the man was perfect. I don't know his entire background. I just know what I remember seeing growing up in the 80s and 90s, seeing an intelligent black man do speeches of empowerment, run for the White House. And Jesse Jackson, as a DC native, we liked Jesse Jackson. That's just what it is. I'm not trying to go too deep into it, but I didn't see Jesse Jackson speak anything that opposed reparations. Whether he was Boule or not, I'm not sure. I'm just taking this off face value. And what I'm essentially saying is we need more representation that embodies class personified. We don't have that. So when somebody who used to be suited and booted, well spoken, and was pushing for uh, equity for our people, I have to respect that. I have to respect it. There's not too many of our people that actually, you know, push for some form of freedom. Let me see. Let's read. Let me see. He called us African Americans a freaking lie. Let me see who else. Who else up in here? Ralph Abarthy said that he was a fraud. I don't even know who that is. So I guess Reverend Jesse Jackson had more impact than Ralphie. Yeah, somebody said, preach. I woke up and said, wow, Reverend Jesse Jackson passed the same day of my father's birthday. Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Now, do I agree with everything that the Rainbow Coalition that Jesse Jackson made? Do I agree with all of their philosophy? No. It's not about that. I have the propensity to see the positive in people. And I'm not short sighted. I'm not short sighted. And I'm not going to speculate with all these conspiracies either when it comes to our foundational black American heroes. Like somebody said, Jesse knew King was going to be killed. How do you know that? How do you know that? I mean, let me see. Ralph Abarthy was the man standing with Martin Luther King when he was shot. Abarthy is a true leader. Okay, understand. Okay, I'll do my research on Abarthy. But we're talking about Reverend Jesse Jackson right now because he just passed away. Um, Somebody said, "Who are these people y'all talking about?" We're talking about some of our civil rights activists and leaders. I mean, listen, whether it's Jesse Jackson, Farrakhan, Medgar Evans, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Assata Shakur, y'all got to understand that I'm going to speak highly of these individuals. I'm not getting into those channels that like to destroy black greatness. I'm not with that. Like you got some platforms that every time one of our leaders step up, they get placed under this microscope where it's so much scrutiny and criticism and they people always saying they plants and they this and they that. Listen, I'm not finna do that with revolutionaries. I'm telling you right now, you come to the wrong platform if you think that that's what this is over here. No, I'm for my people. And whether Jesse Jackson called us African Americans or not, and I believe we're the true biblical Israelites, uh, that makes no difference. You know, at the time, maybe he didn't know. Maybe he still don't. Maybe he didn't know before he passed. But nonetheless, you know, it is what it is. Let the man rest in peace. Let the man rest in peace. I don't know everything about Reverend Jesse Jackson, but I do know the basis of what he did as a DC senator. People didn't have no issue in my city with Jesse Jackson. It's just it is what it is. When Colin Powell passed away, I felt the same way. I didn't like when Colin Powell passed away. May he rest in peace. It's just something about these people who actually made it to certain positions. Y'all got to think about it. In my time as an 80s baby, these are people that I grew up seeing. And some of the things that I've heard him say, it made much sense. Somebody said he never spoke of reparations. He never spoke against it either. Candace Owens, she spoke against reparations. But if Candace Owens was to pass away right now, y'all gonna have a conniption. What am I missing here? If Candace Owens was to go right now, or if she was to go 10 years from now, and some of y'all grew up knowing who Candace Owens is, y'all are gonna have a conniption. Why? Because Candace Owens' voice is powerful, regardless how you feel. That's one thing about the white supremacists that we don't understand, that they have an advantage over us with. Them white supremacists, they hated Charlie Kirk. But when his ass died, they put on a fake front. And they put this guy on t-shirts. They listen, they tried to have a Charlie Kirk day and they couldn't stand his ass. You know why? Cuz they be on code. We don't. They be on code. I'm on code with elders. Y'all got to think about it like this. When the last time we had any revolutionaries in your lifetime? So you can't take away the revolutionaries or people who are uh, considered leaders in our community from my lifetime. You're not going to take them away and demonize them when I know that they probably they more than likely had good efforts, and they probably had good intentions to empower our people. Without that whole civil rights movement, you know what I'm saying, we would be in some serious trouble. Why? Because the civil rights movement actually legitimized our citizenship here. For that reason alone, the civil rights movement means something. It's the reason why y'all not getting deported. It's the reason why you're not being considered 3/5 of a man anymore. That happened through the civil rights movement. So you can, and it wasn't even that long ago. That wasn't even that long ago. If it wasn't for these guys who was marching for our civil rights, we'd be packed up in shipping containers and sent back to Africa by now. But we're not. I just like to give respect to where respect is due. Yeah, shout out to Dick Gregory too. Salute Dick Gregory, Bobby Hemmett, all them people. Salute all those people. Professor Griff. Salute Malcolm X. Salute all of those people. That's right, Christy. Yo, I respect that. She said, but I respect the opinions of others and condolences to his family. Absolutely. I didn't, and see, look, at not one point did I say I agree with everything Jesse Jackson stood for or said. At not one point I said that. But I'm going to respect his contributions to our civil rights. Salute Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, all of them. Salute all of them. There's a reason we still talk about these individuals. It said Jesse Jackson gave up on the black community a long time ago. So did Anton Daniels. But if Anton Daniels was to pass away right now, y'all gonna say rest in peace. Stop it. Because you're gonna find the positive in what he said and what he did. It's like, I know it's a lot of hypocrisy, man. Somebody said Anton Daniels, Breed, you joking, right? Anton Daniels is good people. Anton Daniels gave up on our people a long time ago. He feeds off black degeneracy just like the other Republican creators. But if something was to happen to him, you still gonna say rest in peace. I think some people are missing the point. I think some people are missing the point. The point I'm making is, look, you gotta give honor what honor is due. Let me see. Let's see. I'm just naming big creators and big people that if they were to pass away, the point I'm making is you're going to say rest in peace, whether you disagree or agree. If you feel like they had a positive impact at all, you're going to try to if you're going to try to commemorate them for who they are and what they've done, what they contributed. Yeah, people don't follow code no more. No, we're going to say rest in peace to Reverend Jesse Jackson, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to turn this into a debate or argument. He passed away. He was 84 years old. You may not like everything he stood for or represented, but at the end of the day, may the man rest in peace. And I want to thank all of the martyrs and elders that put in that work. Straight up, it's all respect, it's all love on this side. Anyway, more material coming. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace.